Hi there. It's time for this week's edition of TV Coast to Coast. This is our weekly video chat where our team of 4 TV critics get together and talk about stuff that's going on in television. I'm Kristi Turnquist. I'm with the Oregonian in Portland, Oregon, and OregonLive.com. And in the rotation this week are Dave Walker from the New Orleans Times-PIcayune and NOLA.com, and Vicki Hyman from the Star Ledger and NJ.com. And Vicki, as we were saying, you seem to have survived the terrible blizzard that everybody was saying was going to come and hit you there in that particular part of the world.
4 inches of it.
That's lucky. That's a relief for all.
Not
We're glad you have your
barely
power.
enough. That's barely enough to shovel.
But we have to.
Well, this kind of cold weather is a good excuse to stay inside and watch television, and there's plenty to watch. As always, we're in the thick of the mid-season, and that means that we've got shows that are coming back to start their season in their winter schedule, shows like The Americans, and then we've got returning shows that are picking up after their kooky mid-season finales, for example, Suits on the USA Network. And then we have plenty of new premieres like Fortitude, a new series on the still somewhat new Pivot channel. And we're going to be talking about those today. I'll start us out by talking about Suits. Now, this is a show that's been around for a while. It never gets a ton of attention, but it's got a loyal audience. It's on the USA channel, which isn't necessarily one of those channels that wins a lot of Emmy Awards. And Suits has an essential ridiculousness in its premise that makes it a guilty pleasure for me. I mean, we're meant to believe that this character who's a brilliant attorney but never managed to actually go to law school and complete law school is able to practice law with an elite law firm, and people sort of conspire to keep his secret, and that he's somehow managing to get away with this and not being completely busted is a huge credibility gap. But I keep watching the show because it is so fun. It's just sheer fun. I mean, the cast, they all have terrific chemistry. Gabriel Macht and Patrick J. Adams as the two lead lawyers wear spiffy suits and have terrific banter. All of the female characters are well written. I'm especially fond of Gina Torres as the sort of managing partner of the law firm. She's a great boss lady, and she's just, she's played with such relish. It's not the most challenging show on TV, but it's terrific comfort viewing in these cold winter months. So I'm glad to see it returning. It also bounces around from night to night, so pay attention. It's on Wednesday nights this season, and the storyline picks up, and you'll be, I'll forgive you if you don't remember it, because I barely did either. The mid-season finale for this one was back in August. Yeah. So they're picking up a storyline that's part of the whole sort of convoluted mythology of when this fraudulent lawyer, Mike, gets discovered. And he's been discovered by one of the other lawyers at the firm, Louis Litt, who's also a rather delicious character. So that's pretty much it for the plot. We don't really watch it for the plot. Those of us who are fans of the show just enjoy it for seeing the gorgeous cast, the spiffy outfits, and just watching them have fun bantering and playing off each other. So if you're looking for something that's not too challenging but a lot of fun, I can certainly recommend Suits. Now, on a somewhat more challenging level, we've got The Americans, which is coming back for a new season, and you wanted to talk about that, right, Dave?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about discomfort television, which is what The Americans is about. And I'm in disguise today in its honor. So I got my ball cap on, so you probably couldn't tell it was me. So The Americans returns for its third season on Wednesday, and it's the story of Liz and Phil Jennings, two KGB agents embedded as husband and wife in the Washington, D.C. suburbs. It's set in the early 1980s, the waning days of the Cold War, and it's a suspenseful and sexy spy story that doubles as a kind of a sweet family portrait. It's also as inadvertently contemporary as historical drama can be. In this story, the spy couple's government is dealing with a boiling quagmire in Afghanistan, ramifications of which continue today. And as we watch this week, the prosecution of a Russian spy ring operating in New York as late 2014 is in the news again. The Americans is created by a former CIA officer, Joe Weisberg, and it trades on the constant peril the Jennings family faces as Liz and Phil do their work. Danger of discovery is everywhere, including next door, where an FBI agent lives. Imagine this strain this pressure puts on a marriage, however artificial the union once was. Adding to the complications this season is the continuing storyline of the couple's Soviet handlers pressuring them to steer their teen daughter toward the spy life. Despite the domestic distractions, the couple can be ruthlessly efficient as a team at their jobs. A scene in a later episode this season, in which the Jenningses dispatch a corpse, demonstrates that expertise. Part of the fun of the show is wishing that maybe they weren't as good at what they do as they are, given their job descriptions, and that the show maintains them as sympathetic characters is one of its great storytelling achievements. As is the show's attention to the littlest detail. They're usually not exploited for campy effect, though they could be, given the period, early 80s. I won't bring out my snapshots from then for you now. But a storyline in the premiere episode actually hinges on a character seeing her reflection in the shiny faceplate of a barroom pay telephone. Those were the days. Another strong element in the series so far has been an excellent supporting and guest cast. Margot Martindale, who everybody loves, has appeared on the show and may return. That was sort of semi-news out of the TV Critics Tour. Frank Langella joins the cast this season, and he's so watchable and cool. Not on screen very much, but he's great. So dial in The Americans, which is one of those shows you ought to be watching if you're not. I know. Believe me, I know. There's just too many to watch them all. This is one you should, though, especially if you have an Emmys ballot. Vicki, what do you got?
I have Fortitude, which is one of those shows you should watch if you can watch it, because it's on the Pivot channel, which is this, as Kristi said, this 1.5-year-old channel that is marketed to millennials, but don't let that stop you. It's not widely available here in New Jersey, but it's on the Dish and DirecTV networks. It is a major production. Fortitude is a major production of Britain's Sky Atlantic, and it's been getting commensurate press across the pond. Not so much making waves here yet, but it should, because it's really, really good. It's billed as a sort of Twin Peaks of the Arctic. Again, don't let that stop you. Like Twin Peaks, it's about a small town with dark secrets, but in this case, the small town is on an island halfway between continental Norway and the North Pole. It's home to about 700 hardy souls, variously occupied by research, mining, wildlife photography, Norwegian heavy metal, and infidelity. Fortitude has never experienced a homicide, but guess what? That's about to change. The murder investigation, I can't tell you who was killed because it's one of those, oh, Corey Stoll's going to be in Homeland. Oh. The murder investigation is helmed by a local sheriff who has a knack for showing up unexpectedly and promptly at crime scenes, and he soon butts heads with a forensic specialist called in from London who begins to peel back the town's layers of intrigue, the disproportionately large number of affairs, the ambitions of the provincial governor who wants to bolster Fortitude's future with an ice hotel, and the hush-hush discovery of a prehistoric mammoth in the permafrost. And what attracted me to this show before I really knew that much about it is the cast. You've got Stanley Tucci, and who doesn't love him some Stanley Tucci? He plays the British forensic expert with a steely charm. Michael Gambon is the dying wildlife photographer who harbors suspicions about the town sheriff. And there's Christopher Eccleston as the scientist with the power to kill the governor's tourism project. The setting is really unusual. It's a bit off-putting. It's not played for any kind of quirky charm. And speaking of off-putting, this is a show that makes the viewers work. Unlike many American mysteries and dramas, there's endless exposition. There's the constant reintroduction of characters in case your mind wandered off for 2 seconds. Here, we're thrown right into the middle of myriad mysteries. At one point, the police are searching for a missing woman, and I'm like, who is that again? And she shows up and it's like, oh, her. Okay, yeah. So if you can keep up, you will be well rewarded. As I said, it premieres on Thursday night with 2 episodes, 2 hours, and then it goes on. I think there are 12 episodes altogether. So, Google Pivot, see if it's offered in your area, and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch it. I must confess that I haven't watched it yet myself. I've sort of been hoping to watch it once I've gotten over this head cold that I have. But the minutes are clicking down, so I think I better start watching it and just bundle up inside my house here with my echinacea and my tea. And I agree with Dave. The Americans is definitely worth watching if you haven't been watching it. And the period details are fantastic. There was just in the silliest little detail. There was one moment where the woman who plays it's a small role. She plays the wife of the character played by Noah Emmerich. Is wearing the most horrible 80s jeans.
All the way up to here.
Yes. And I just started laughing and I thought, now this is true commitment to period. I applaud the show. I applaud the actress. My hat's off to all of them. And it's a good show for reasons that go into somewhat more substantial areas than that. Anyway. I think that about does it for this week. Hopefully next time we get together, all of us will be healthy. We won't have head colds or imminent blizzards to worry about. So thanks for taking part, everybody, and thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thanks. Get well. Stay safe.
Hey, guys.